Hey, good morning and good evening, team. Let me get started. Let me quickly get into the crux of it. For in this webinar, we'll talk about virtual agent, the need for having a virtual agent, the bot, chat bot. Right, I've been in the, as I said, right, in the past 20 years, there was always a need for having a bot, especially in automation in the ServiceNow or in ITSM space. Many vendors, right? If I can name Genesis, Salesforce, BMC, they all have a chatbot. And today in marketplace, a good portion of the of ITSM, the market leader is ServiceNow, and there was a need to have. Just about 3-4 versions before, we always felt like, okay, can the chatbot of ServiceNow be a little bit better improved? Now is the time. Let me speak about what is the current market trend, why this is the right time. Now is the best time to adopt that virtual agent journey. One is this is actually coming from Gartner. 40% of the CEOs, they did actually an analysis or a survey of about 550 CEOs. 40% of them think that the next 6 months, it actually, the clock started early this month. Next 6 months are things are going to be the way it is currently, the COVID situation. The second data point, what the CEO, the feedback was, they believe 60% of the companies will continue to have a good portion of workforce working in remote. I was surprised to see even service companies like us, many of us, many are continue to have workforce working from offshore. Today, Royal Sabre as a company with, as I said, like out of 1,000 people, almost 100% is working remote, including our low cost regions as well as in customer regions here in the States, and in we have operations in Middle East, so across the globe. But I think we expect that this will continue to run this way even after this situation. Now if these two are right, we try to understand this better, right? Few things. Number one, in the past 3 months, the number of calls to service desk has improved by 24%, right? The demand has increased, whereas the productivity has decreased, right? Actually, there are interesting studies happen. The areas where there was an engineering effort required, right, where you would have to, right, there is a development effort, those things, actually surprisingly the productivity has increased, whereas things like command center jobs, service desk, or help desk systems, right, those areas the productivity has decreased by about 22%, right? So that's one thing. The demand increased while the supply is actually decreasing. Number three, when we, okay, so if that is what the demand and supply part is, let's understand the quality of demand and service desk. By the way, all these are the past 90 days analysis, right? So if the demand has increased, what kind of demand has increased? We see that about 24% increase in demand, right? What kind of demand? We found that few interesting observations. Number one, most of the demands were how to, my email is not working, my VPN is not working, right? To these kind of demand, the how to knowledge based demand, number one. Number two, even that demand in service desk terminology, the average handling time, the time the person will be on that phone, the employee on the phone with the agent, has substantially increased, because usually what it actually takes, a guy, if I don't have my laptop working, me being a developer, I will go to an agent, get that actually fixed. He'll be able to see, I'll give that laptop, take a coffee, come back, by that time that laptop is fixed. Now we don't have that choice anymore. So I have to have a service desk agent. He has to have the right tools to come and fix those whole thing. So the average handling time has increased. That's a second observation. Now if it is on call, right, invariably in any customer we have seen, we have discussed with about, out of the 100 customers which Royal Cyber said, right, we tried to discuss with about 30 of them, and they said one main point, right, the amount of time the employees, including some of the leadership whom we spoke to, right, they had to be on the phone to get access to an agent has increased, right? So the average wait time has increased. Now there is a wherever there is a channel outside of voice, people have started using it in an extensive way. So we could see that about 4 times the increase in amount on the chat channel. If this is what the market condition today is, and if according to Gartner, if it is going to continue this way for the near future, this is the right time to have things under control to implement virtual agent. I apologize. So with that, let me go to the next slide uh, on what do you think about, right? So Madhu, are you with us?
Yes, Venkat.
Madhu, would you like, can you be able to raise a quick survey? We
Yeah,
have
I'm
about
doing
20 people on the call, right? If you could just run a survey and find out how is the, are they, when I spoke to about 30 leadership with our customers, they said these are the major problems which I could actually, they were seeing. Number one, knowledge management. Hey Venkat, right? Right now my agents, it used to be done by both end user computing, command center, and my service desk. Now my service desk has to do everything, right? Though I keep adding resource into my service desk pool, the knowledge management is a problem for me. How effectively an agent get to that knowledge has become a problem. And obviously the call, the demand, as I said before, to the agent has increased. Security is a risk. Connectivity, many a times, I'm not able to connect, my Genesis is not connecting, or AWS Connect is not connecting, those kind of issues. Do you guys see the same thing? And can you actually raise a, Madhu, uh, can you raise the poll?
Yes, it is. We had 33% on surge in demand and 33% on security, and others also quoted on network connectivity.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was actually expecting a little bit more on the knowledge management as well. But interesting, surge in demand. That's exactly what the leadership whom we actually we found two interesting observations. Number one was surge in demand was more on the leadership, more on operations perspective. The second we saw was on, right, security, as you all mentioned, and knowledge management. The people on the ground faced a substantial need for knowledge management. Thanks, Madhu, for the survey. Now let me go back and see how these pain points and some of the other things can be addressed with virtual agent. Let me be quick here. By the way, I structured this presentation for about 20 to 25 minutes with a webinar with the demo, and we will have like 10 to 15 minutes on any Q&A which you may have. Okay, so now what this ServiceNow virtual agent is, right? So when we looked at it, when I tried to understand the ticket trend, the kind of work which is coming to ServiceNow, or the service desk, not essentially ServiceNow, right? Service desk and the command center, the operational people, we found that uh, password reset, which used to be about 15 to 20% of the tickets, and about 30 to about 30% of the tickets which are not FCR, first call resolution tickets, right, which lands in the command center or service desk and gets reassigned to somebody, to other people, right? So that was the second thing. Knowledge management. How can I put my timesheet? How can I or how can my email is not working, my signature is not there in that email, what can I, how can I fix that? Those kind of knowledge management questions. So these were substantially larger buckets. How can a chat agent, virtual agent, can enable that? Now when we looked at it, right, there are 5 characteristics it need to have, any good virtual agent need to have, which we found in ServiceNow Virtual Agent, the past 3 releases for sure, starting Madrid, New York, and now Orlando, substantially improved on. Uh, Let me actually play one more thing, right? If I looked at the past, as I said, right, in the past 10 years, there were 2 things. consistently people said, even if I have to call when I get to an IVR, it's not something which is very pleasant to me, right? Neither the chat. I ask something, it is giving me something else, some other answer. So people tend to, including me, including most of us, tend to prefer to deal with the real life agent. Number one. Number two, this metrics comes from PwC. They are telling that anything which was built, uh, one second, I hit the wrong thing. Yeah. Anything which was built before 2018 will get abandoned, right? It will be, right? We will move into the newer version. And there was a reason for it, why they said that, which was pre 2018, the whole AI ML was not strong. Now, there was a need to have AI ML. Most of the companies, right? Of course, ServiceNow, in the versions which were released after 2018, there is a substantial improvement of AI ML capability. And by the way, an AI ML engine is only as good as the data we use to train that engine. And that is something which ServiceNow has mastered it. And if I have to go back to what PwC said, right, 40% of the chatbot built pre 2018 will be abandoned. Now is a time to create an engine on ServiceNow, because anyway, ServiceNow, if you have ServiceNow, ServiceNow is your ITSM platform, and it makes more sense to build your bot on top of the ServiceNow rather than using it in some other place. So with that, let me quickly go to demo. Okay, so now let me actually show, right, on the demo. So this is your chatbot. I'm going to spend about quick 5 minutes on this demo, but yeah, chatbot opens up. So here, let me start a new conversation. Say, so it actually gives me the list of the issues which we already have, catalog item, or what we actually define. Royal Cyber has actually defined, we try to define the list of usual catalog item problems or usual incidents. There are about 200 such cases. When we really looked at it, it was actually following Pareto, right? 80-20 rule. This top 200 was actually contributing in most organizations about 60% of the tickets, whether it is service request ticket or an incident ticket, right? So we try to create scripts or topics in this case, right? Use cases in this case for all those. So essentially, you will be able to pick in one of those what it is, or I can actually type something like, in this case, let me pick up, right, which is very common because of this. Most people are working in remote. The most common issues are either it is a VPN issue or my VDA is not working, Citrix is not working. These kind of issues are very, very common now. And the third most common is on that password piece of it. Right, let me take, right, my VPN has stopped working. If I type that, right, it actually gives me the list. The re all these, right, and the list of 4 right now it is actually showing is based on the data which I have actually used to train. I will talk about what is the data I've actually used to train. But if you look at it, why when I typed VPN issue, it is actually giving me email issue, is because in this organization or in this sample set in our environment, right, many a times the VPN is also associated with email. The people who are in customer locations, they have to get into VPN to access that email. Many times when they actually raise a ticket, they raise it as an email issue ticket. But you could see all the possible things. It is context aware based on the organization on which it is actually assigned with. So with that, let me go and pick up the VPN connectivity issue. Then it would actually, right, based on the natural language understanding, it identifies, okay, whether it is on the Mac or on a PC. Let me pick it up as PC, personal computer. It actually says, okay, here is the list of things which you could try. Now this is in my earlier story. There is a need to have a knowledge management. So now the user knows how to resolve that issue. So he actually tries this, and he's not able to fix this. In that case, if he's able to fix this, the issue will close. If he's not able to, then it gives me a knowledge article. Let me open that knowledge article, right? Whether it is, again, this is also context aware. Is that because of IP or router setting in my right default gateway in my PC, or if it is a VPN setting, if I can actually click on it, it will give me the knowledge base where how I can resolve this issue, right? Similarly for the router setting, right? So once that knowledge base is also, if I think that okay, even that is not possible, that is not resolving, then it routes me to, is there, do you want me to create a incident ticket? I have two choices, right? I can actually build it as route it to a live agent, or to a default ticket, depending on what it is. Now let me quickly recap. In this specific case, there are actually about 200 cases, as I said before. In this specific case on VPN, the user typed on a NLU, natural language. It identified which of those catalog would work, routes it to him, and it gives the user what are the different things which he could actually look for, right? What are the different ways he could solve by himself. If that's not working, it gives him a knowledge article. If that's not working, then it creates a ticket. Now let's look at that ticket piece of it. How did it actually create the ticket? If you look at it, it assigned the impact and urgency is low. We didn't actually select that. It assigned the ticket to network software, right? It and category to network, and it also created a short description. We as a ServiceNow people, right, as a ITSM, right, guardian for it, right? It identifies, it in turn uses predictive intelligence to identify based on what you have typed where the ticket has to go to. This is another interesting metric. Why it is important is, if you forget this virtual agent based in crisis situation, even in a normal situation, if you allow the user to select the assignment group, many a times the user may not know where the ticket has to be. By the way, this we have seen in a large financial customer and quite a few other customers, right? Actually recently with with a healthcare customer. So it is essential to look at the history. Let me show quickly the history of tickets which I have used to train it. Okay, so I have in the ML solution, I have used 50,000 tickets to train this ML solution. So essentially, long story short, the virtual agent identifies where the ticket has to be routed, and then it gives the status of it. I can use virtual agent for multiple things, right? Yes, let me actually show the rest, right? It would be able to find out the different types of tickets. If I have to find the status of the ticket, right, I will be able to find a case status. I just have to tell the ticket number, it will give me that. So essentially most of the calls, based on our understanding, the earlier adoption is comparatively faster. Today is the right, this is the right time to get this adoption. Now with this, let me jump back to the presentation. Oh, by the way, right, I forgot to mention one more piece, the NLU piece of it, the natural language. The system identifies the language, right? If, for example, in this specific case, I used VPN connectivity, then I would be able to tell what are the different language, right? A natural language I can actually implement for this specific case. What are the kind of utterances, so that my ML engine, ServiceNow ML engine, can actually learn it. Now with that, let me go to the presentation. So the next question would be on, okay, when we actually try to implement this, and when we implemented this to few of the customers, the immediate natural next question is, okay, fine. If you claiming that 20 to 30% of my volume on day one can come down, what is the cost associated with it, right? ITSM, there are today in the market, right? We have about 55 total. ServiceNow has in the range of about 5,500 customers. Out of that, a good portion of them, more than 20% of them, I believe, right, are ITSM Pro customers. Anything with ITSM Pro, you would be able to implement predictive intelligence and virtual agent. We can help you identify on what does it take if you are just an ITSM to move it into ITSM Pro. I'm going to go pretty fast on this, right? How that AI ML, as I said before, number one, NLU, natural language understanding. Number two is predictive intelligence, where what kind of priority I need to provide, what kind of, where, which category the ticket has to go to, whom should it go to, right? Those areas can be learned based on the 50,000, or like we can take the number of tickets and actually train that system accordingly. uh, right, let me, okay, if that is what it is, let me come back to the interesting screen which I actually spoke about. Then fine, two important stages, right? Number one, there is a need of virtual agent, number one. Number two, ServiceNow virtual agent, the chatbot, has substantially improved over the 3 to 4 versions. Yes, even I have actually used other things now, because the data is living in ServiceNow. It makes more sense to use that, so that there is no further integration required. But at least from data perspective, yeah, integration is possible. I'll talk about it. Uh, Now, what does it, how can we accelerate this adoption? We don't have like 3 months or 6 months to do this whole thing. How can we accelerate that adoption? There are few things which we could do. Number one is identify, right, the agent. We need to have the already existing topics, which I said, like the use case. I showed you a VPN use case. There are quite a few use cases, right? Routine activities. How can I archive my email, which is a frequent activity? How can I reset my mainframe password? Frequent activity. These kind of things, right? So those are, we have created about 200 topics, which will actually tell, okay, here is a list of questions, the flow and the NLU for it. So it gives you a jump start. Number two is about the catalog items, which you would already have, as long as you standardize. The rule of thumb is, in your service request, not more than 10% of your tickets should be direct service requests. Rest of them should follow the service catalog. How, what are the frequent service catalogs, analysis done, and then identified, okay, here are the 450. There are some delta which we created and all that. So that's number two. We did this actually for banking, and it was a success, right? That's number two, which in any environment it is good to build. Number three is the NLU. This is more applicable when you have a global team, even if it is within the US, right? If it is not limited to one region. What if you have presence in Europe, in Americas, in South Americas, right? So there, the language is very different. Number one, there is an actual language itself, right? Spanish, English, and those things. Even within English, the way we actually ask questions, the natural language understanding. So that is also essential. There is a need to have better NLU understanding library, so that your system will be able to understand better. Number four, integration with, okay, what you currently have in ServiceNow, what you have built in ServiceNow with the lexicon, with the utterances, and is there an external thing, right, which we can integrate with? One of that example is IBM Watson. They are pretty strong in their NLU just because of their history, right? Is there a way I can actually integrate? Next is, yeah, there is a need to have PI. As I showed you before, I raised a VPN. It auto routed to network software team, right? So it's there, and it defaulted to the priority of 3, right? Depending on where it is, depending on the history of it, the category was assigned to network. So depending on that, the PI is extremely important. Otherwise, it would become like the ticket will get created, but it will get assigned to the wrong resolver group. The final stage is that integration. Hey Venkat, there is no need to have like, do I also always have to go to ServiceNow page to do this whole thing? Can I not have my organization use Teams? Can that not be virtual agent be a actual agent, actual name, so that I can actually type, I would be able to get that response just like the way I'm getting response here? The answer is yes. I showed you on a ServiceNow page, but this can be integrated with whatever your internal messaging channel is. The most important piece is, I told you before, right? The model is good as long as the data we use to train it, right? If we give the wrong book to the kid to read, right, it is not going to be the results is not going to be good, right? And by the way, if we use a wrong data to train, correcting that training, right, unlearn and learning is way more expensive. It's actually expensive even to us. For a machine learning, it's much more expensive. So that is more essential. Many a times the earlier adopters of AI/ML face this problem. Hey, I tried to do it, I put all the ticket into AI/ML. Now whenever I actually type, hey, for you, for VPN, it actually showed it as software network, but for me it is showing it as a different team. That's not the right thing. My ML is not working. The one and only reason why the ML will not work is because the data we gave to train it is not correct, and that has to be cleaned up, right? That's, in my view, the most important work. People will adopt only if it actually gives value to them. So that was a most important piece in that whole thing. uh, with that is the end of this presentation. If you wish, we could actually do this as an assessment and tell that, okay, here are the gaps, these are the transformation potential, this is the ROI which we can do. Essentially, though we said it as a week, we can do that fairly faster. We have a engine, or we have a update set which you can deploy. The machine actually creates, right, okay, here are the gaps, this is the way it can be done. You have license or you don't have license, this is the way you can actually deploy and all that. Or if you want to do just this AI ML alone, right, the predictive intelligence and virtual agent to be done, then we can do it as a packaged version as well, right? Depending, of course, right, depending on if there are too much of integration, then we can. But standard, what I showed, is not something which can be done fairly fast at this period of time. We usually take 3 to 4 weeks time to get this implementation done. So with that, feel free to reach out to us. I actually said, right, to some of the people whom I interacted with, that this is going to be a 30 to 45 minute session. I know us, most of us are quite busy handling the surge of ticket, and that actually substantiates with the Q&A response, with the poll response which you folks have given to us. We are uh, we are here, we are happy to help you and accelerate this your transformation journey. The coordinates are here. Let us know if you need any help. Thank you all. It's a pleasure. Thank you.